morning, everybody. Welcome to Algebra 1, Lesson 51, right? Yeah, 51. Okay, we're talking about multiplying polynomials. So we talked about polynomials. We learned what they were in our last lesson, and now we're going to talk about how you multiply them. And it's very, very easy. So remember this definition. This is for the distributive property, that if you have A times something in parentheses, for example, B plus C, the way that you multiply it is you distribute the A to each term inside the parentheses. So you have A times B plus A times C, and you multiply it that way. So we can use this when it comes to polynomials. We can multiply our terms using the distributive property. For example, if I have 4x times x squared minus 2, I distribute my 4x to each of the terms inside the parentheses. So I start with 4x times x squared. Remember, when you multiply your terms, you multiply your numbers together. I don't have a number in front of x squared, so that means 1. So 4 times 1 is 4. And then for your terms, or for your variables, excuse me, you just add your exponents. So I have x1 plus x2, so that would be x3. Now I multiply it by a negative 2. 4x times negative 2. So for this one, I just multiply my coefficients, my numbers. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And then I keep my x. So 4x times negative 2 is negative 8x. And that's my answer, 4x cubed minus 8x. Pretty simple, right? Well, now we have, when we want to multiply binomials, so we want to multiply two binomials together, what are we going to get in that case? Okay, well, I'm going to show you how we do it with letters, just like we have this definition here. But then when you go to do it, it'll be less complicated. This is just going to be the long version so you see each one. Okay, so since I know when I have just one term right here, I distribute it to each one of these letters. It's the same thing when I have two terms. I distribute each part to these letters. I have A plus B times C plus A plus B times D, like this. A plus B times C plus A plus B times D. So I just distributed this whole thing to each one of these terms. Now I use the distributive property again to simplify it a little bit more. So I have C times A. I'm going to write it in alphabetical order. AC plus B times C plus, now it's over here, D times A plus D times B. And then I have my answer. Now you don't have to write it out quite like that each time you multiply. I'm going to show you two ways to multiply your binomials, okay? And you can pick whichever one you like the best, whichever one is easiest for you to do. So I have 4x plus 5 times 3x minus 2. This way, I'm going to just do it like I've been doing these ones, just multiply across. So I'm going to multiply 4x times 3x, then 4x times negative 2, because that's what my distributive property tells me, that to multiply one polynomial by another polynomial, you multiply each term of the first polynomial by each term of the second polynomial. So it's just make sure you multiply all of your terms. So 4x times 3x, 4 times 3 is 12. X times x is x squared. Then I have 4x times negative 2. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And x. Remember, you always include the sign that's in front of the number with the number. Okay, now I'm going to move over to my 5 and multiply my 5 by each of these terms. 5 times 3x. 5 times 3 is 15, so it's 15x. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Now I can check to see if I can combine any like terms. There are no other x squares, there's just this one. But here I do have x and x, so I can combine these. Negative 8 plus 15. That's 15 minus 8, which is 7. So my simplified answer is 12x squared plus 7x minus 10. Okay? Now here's the second way that you could do it. You could write it out as a multiplication problem. I'm just going to tell you, this is the way I prefer to do it, but you might feel like you're going to get lost in this method, so you might prefer the multiplication method, which looks like this. 4x plus 2 times x minus 5. You just stack them like that. Then you start with your x. So this one you kind of work backwards from what you would do if you were multiplying normal numbers. You start in the front. X times 4x is 4x squared. X times 2 is positive 2x. Now I do my back number. Negative 5 times 4x is negative 20x. And I put it underneath of the like term, negative 20x. Okay, this is just an x, so this is just an x. Then I multiply my negative 5 times my 2, and that gives me negative 10. Now I combine my like terms, so I add it together. Nothing to add this to, so it's just 4x squared. Now I know it's going to be hard to see, so I'm going to adjust the camera in just a minute. Positive 2x minus 20x, that's a negative 18x minus 10. Okay, bear with me while I move my camera down just a little. Okay, there you go. So you see you have 4x squared minus 18x minus 10. So you use whichever method you prefer to use. For the rest of the examples, I'm going to show you using the multiplication method, okay? That way, if this is the one you prefer, you get some more practice with it. Okay, so let's finish up with a couple of examples and then do your practice. 4x plus 2 times 3x minus 5. I'm going to write this out as the multiplication method. I'm going to write it like this. I'm going to bring my 4x plus 2 right under my existing number, so I have less to write and more space. All right, excuse me. I'm going to start with my 4x. 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times negative 5 is negative 20x. Now I go to my 2. 2 times 3x is positive 6x. Whoops, got ahead of myself there. That goes under here, positive 6x. Positive 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And now I can combine them. So bring my 12x straight down, 12x squared, excuse me. Negative 20 plus 6x, so that would be 20 minus 6, which is 14. My greater number is my negative, so it's a negative 14x. And then minus 10. And that's it. That's all you have to do, right? Simple, really easy. Let's try this one. 3x plus 2 squared. So just like when you square, for example, x, that means that you're multiplying x times x. Well, it's the same thing up here. This means I'm multiplying 3x plus 2 times 3x plus 2. So to multiply it, I'm just going to write it right underneath. 3x plus 2 and multiply. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times positive 2 is positive 6x. Now I go to my next number, 2. 2 times 3x is positive 6x. 2 times 2 is positive 4. Now I combine them. So I get 9x squared, 6x plus 6x is 12x plus 4. Okay, super simple. Last example before your practice. 4x minus 2 times x squared plus 4 plus x. So here I have a binomial times a trinomial, so it's a little bit longer. But I'm going to go ahead and put my binomial underneath of my trinomial and multiply. So I still multiply each term times each term here. That's the key. 4x times x squared is 4x cubed. Okay, you have 3 x's, so make sure that you represent that. 4x times x is 4x squared. And 4x times 4 is 16x. Okay, now I have negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. So make sure that you put it under its like term. So you have both of your x squareds stacked on top of each other. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, so that goes under my other x. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And now I can combine them. 4x cubed. 4x squared minus 2x squared is positive 2x squared. 16x minus 2x is positive 14x minus 8. Okay, that's it. Go ahead and try now your practice on page 189. Okay, you should be back now from your practice. Letter A. A squared minus 36. So you should have gotten a squared minus 6a plus 6a minus 36. And when you combined your 6a's, your negative 6a and your positive 6a, they cancel out. It becomes 0, so you're left with a squared minus 36. Then for letter B, you get 10x squared minus 20x plus, oops, sorry, I forgot to combine them. Let me try that again, guys. All right, 1 second, everyone. Sorry, I'm trying to look something up really quickly. Okay. So that should be 10x squared minus 14x minus 12. I was doing my practice really fast and I forgot to combine. So you got 10x squared minus 14x minus 12. Then letter C is 25x squared minus 60x plus 36. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I would be happy to help. See you in our next lesson. Bye.